It's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome everyone. Present are Commissioner Luke Johnson, Commissioner Chris Hollingsworth, myself, Dallas Roskamp, Steve Ewing, County Administrator, Carrie Menace, County HR Director. It's a regular meeting of the Commission of Pipestone County Commissioners, July 23, 2024. Any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, with Nick Bergman's information, he added an item this morning that's at your desk. He would like to add approved final payment to Rogie Excavating for gravel crushing project CP 2024-100 in the amount of $10,710.72.
Thank you.
Add that to his information, that would be great. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
And to entertain a motion to approve the agenda?
Move.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda, approve the minutes of 7/9/24, approve commissioners warrants, approve auditors warrants of 7/12/24, 7/19/24, approve hospital warrants of $561,030.71, and approve the June 2024 treasurer's report.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That's carried. Mr. Bergman. Morning, Nick.
Morning.
Morning.
All right, first up for me today would be request to purchase some culverts. We got two quotes again. The last one, we had a misunderstanding between us and them, and we ended up getting the wrong materials, so so this would include the correct quotes for the correct material and the split return restocking fee. True North Steel is the low bid this time. Over Contact Engineering.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
The low bid of True North Steel. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Carried.
All right, next item for me would be Osborne Township has a very large bridge that needs to be replaced. And it's something we can't do in-house. It's gonna take it's an actual bridge and we can't design those in-house, so. So I just wanted to give you the heads up that I think quotes are due on the 8th of August, so on August 13th, I'll have a recommendation for a design consultant. I think we talked to 4 or 5 different ones to get a number on, so so just wanted you to know that that'll be a fairly large bill coming, or whatever you want to call it, commitment, I guess. But that gets paid through the town road account, but just wanted to give you a little heads up that that's coming, so.
Where is that bridge?
It is 3/4 of a mile east of County Road 17. I believe 1 mile north of our County Road 2, if that helps you. So if you're heading north out of Edgerton where the pavement ends and you get to the stop sign, the 4-way stop on the gravel, go 1 mile north and 3/4 of a mile east. It's down there. It's posted. So they've asked a couple of years ago, I think they asked for that to be put on the replacement list. So does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. It's an old timber bridge. They're same problems as the rest of them, just wood doesn't last, so. So, yep, I just wanted you to know that that's on the way, so. Next item, this is kind of weird. I don't know that I really need any formal action. But in the handout I gave you, there's some yellow lines. So that Stone Arch Bridge is built flat, but the road's at an angle. And over the years with all the overlays, it's made the pavement get above the curb line on part of it. So when it rains, a lot of water was running on top of the stone, that curb that you can see there on the left side of the picture. And when we excavated to start on the restoration, we found a bunch of damage, like water damage. So I talked with like the stone structural guy and with the design consultant, and we met on site, and they think we can get a concrete slab on it instead. And this would, I think this is definitely the way to go, because then the water stays out of the stone, so it'll last longer. I mean, we're putting a lot of money into this, so I want to make sure that we do the best repair to it. You know, we could drop the bituminous, but then when it needs an overlay, you know, we don't want to build that up so much, it starts dumping water in the wrong spot again. And I, for one, am not excited to put a milling machine on that bridge, you know, with all the vibration. I don't want it to hit anything. So we think that the slab would be the way to go on this, but I just want to make sure that everybody's okay with seeing a concrete slab on there instead of a bituminous road. You know.
Replace the whole top of the.
Yeah,
above
instead
the
of,
bridge.
instead of a bituminous surface, to just have a concrete slab on it. I don't know if anybody looked at the plans, but it obviously wasn't in there, so this would be a change to what,
It'll be the whole road surface.
just over the bridge.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, to keep the,
I mean, it won't be just this little
It won't
space
be
that
just
shows in the
3
picture.
foot wide.
no, it'll be curb to curb
Right.
for the whole length of the bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere, we'll have to see what they come back and say, but that's the point, not just this little bit here, but, yeah, so.
Like concrete.
I do like it.
Okay, well, that's what we'll plan on doing then. I just didn't want to get too far down the road with that and then find out that for whatever reason, you guys didn't want that, so.
Cause we were gonna have to resurface the road regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And this is patch mix, so it's gonna be really expensive, so swapping it out with concrete might not make much of a difference anyway for that little bit, so we'll see what the numbers come back at, but you know, we have multiple people working on this, so if there was a problem that I missed and maybe one of you saw, like, I didn't want to have some consultant working on a change to find out that we can't do it anyway, you know, so.
How's their work going?
Well, they're up and running again after
Oh,
the
good.
flood. They got some new dock pieces, so it's all looking good again, or it's fascinating work how they do it, you know, piece by piece. It's pretty incredible to watch, like, oofty. You know?
Did the damage that they occurred go into our FEMA?
To their equipment,
Yes.
because it didn't hurt the structure at all. It just meant,
I understand that, but did that go into our FEMA request too?
no,
Should it?
I don't know. It
Okay.
didn't sound like it when I talked to him.
Steve shaking his head,
No,
so,
no,
okay. Never mind.
Cause it's not public.
it's not ours, right? And they would have to go their own insurance for that.
Yeah, that's the way,
Yeah.
when I talked to the foreman on site, that's the impression I got, that this is their insurance deal, so.
At least they got the dock pieces rather quickly.
Yeah, that was great, because without those, we're at a standstill. So, yep, looking good. They might even be done with the east rail by now, so yep, moving along. I think it's looking great myself, so I'm really happy with it. Next up, was that temporary maintenance supervisor fill-in. I did follow up as you guys requested, and yeah, he was the only one to do that, so. I think this is the same request I had from the last meeting, so. Do you want me to touch on anything that again, or?
We discussed it well enough a couple weeks ago, so
Right.
Mr. Chair, I'll move for approval. of the
Say,
request.
okay, is there support for that?
There is.
There is support for it. Any other discussion? Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago and tabled it to today, so,
Right, yeah.
and sounds like everybody's happy with it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried. Thanks for following up on that, Nick. From a couple weeks ago.
Looking back, I should have done that to begin
It
with.
just makes everybody happier.
the right way to do it, so, no. No, glad you, so. Then my last item, showed up, I was out yesterday and I came back to the office today to find those signed finals on my desk for the gravel crushing, so that's why that got added late, but original contract amount for our 2024 gravel crushing was $214,200 and work certified was $214,214.40, so they hit that one pretty close. They would have been, I don't know, 3 tons over or whatever, so, but that's just what it takes to run the machine out, so. So, yeah, gradations turned out good and, yeah, so I recommend approving this.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there support? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried.
All right, any other questions for me? Otherwise, that's all I had for today.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
See anybody else here yet? Gary, you want to give us your good news? Get into the big chair.
Yeah,
Get your,
yeah, stuff and get in the hot seat, yeah.
Over the
she
years.
warned me that she had good news, so.
Okay, so we've done some hiring in the last couple of weeks. We have 2 highway department team members coming on board here in the next 2 weeks. So one next Monday and then another one the following Monday. We reopened that position, that 3rd position I just advertised for it starting yesterday, I think. Right? And then we extended an offer to Ryan for the IT technician position and he accepted. So he
Good.
is starting August 5th, barring no unfortunate pre-employment problems, which I don't anticipate. So some good news, some good people joining our team.
In the IT area, was at a demonstration yesterday and another commissioner from a different county said they don't even have an IT director. I said, how in the world can you get by with that? Oh, we farm it out to a different county. And I thought, good luck, but I told them we had just hired our 3rd and they couldn't believe it. We need it. We need a person.
After what happened with the CrowdStrike software last week, I think it's an indicator in general of the trend that for consideration in running your business, for sure, it can be a major threat. That's all I have for updates. Is there any other questions?
Next on our list is hire assistant county attorney. Are you involved with that too, or?
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
Steve, do you?
no,
I think they'd handle that themselves.
yeah, they have in the past.
Do they do that internally?
Mhm.
Okay.
You have to ratify that hiring or whatever? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you'll have to do approve it.
But where I think they kind of work out something where, I mean, they're working for us, but they're also working for them.
Cause we're not the 100% employer.
Right.
Okay,
The man
thanks,
brings
Gary.
up to speed on that at 9:30 also, so. Done. Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to do the appointment of members to the cannabis committee, we can deal with that. That should not take a long amount of time, I wouldn't think.
What does the cannabis committee entail?
Well, what we've got to deal with is just putting a little bit of information on the request for board action, just to, as a review, the legislature approved adult use cannabis law, chapter 42 at the 2024 legislative session and setting up the State Office of Cannabis Management. Counties do have a role in licensing, developing local ordinances, working with cities, county zoning compliance, licensing of businesses and compliance checks on cannabis and hemp businesses. That can fall either of two ways. Some counties, depending on the size of them, are doing licensing at the city level. Others are, smaller counties are doing it on the county level. Much like I'm told how tobacco is handled through public health and the compliance checks and that type of thing. You have to go in and send an underage person under 21 to buy that type of thing, and working with the sheriff's department. So those issues could fall back on the county as well, since we're the ones that issue the tobacco licenses and well, and through Health and Human Services do the compliance checks. So we will have that. We need to find out whether the cities want to do their own licensing or if they want the county to do all of the licensing. So if someone were to apply for a micro or meso business, something like that, or a grow facility, the county would, in most cases, if it's in the county, if it's in our purview, county and townships, we'd be dealing with it. But if it's in the cities could defer to the counties to do the licensing of those. So we need to find out more information on that. So I'll have to get a hold of the cities and find out what they are thinking they want to do. I'm thinking the smaller cities may not. I'm not sure what the city of Pipestone is doing. I tried to get hold of Deb last week. However, she was on vacation, so I haven't got a chance. But at this point, we still have to come up with a local ordinance. And I just think it's in the best interest of the county to get going with it now, not wait until January 1st of 2025 when licenses are going. The state is already taking applications for social equity licenses for businesses and growing facilities and that type of thing. So it's already in play, but they don't have all the rules set yet. Minnesota's real good at setting the statutes, but the rules are coming. So there's more to it. Every week I'm getting something with it, and I encourage everyone, public, newspapers, you guys, the media, go to OCM, Office of Cannabis Management. They're constantly putting information up there. Sign up for their information so you can find out what's going on. I'm signed up for it, and every week they're sending us, matter of fact, I believe in a week or two, they're gonna have another webinar to help us out too. But at this time, I just think we need to get ahead of it, and was planning on 2 commissioners, the county attorney, the sheriff's department. Obviously Kyle is zoning and environmental, myself and auditor treasurer because of licensing and all that. I think that's a good mix of all the ones that we'll be working with. So the recommendation would be to, you wanted to have 2 commissioners, that's fine. If you want to have 1, that's fine as well. I mean, you have other committees that have 1, but just in case 1 would be missing, we still have an extra one. So Doug Nagel did offer. He emailed me the other day, said he's willing to sit on it as well. Chris had sat in on the AMC cannabis committee through Association of Minnesota Counties. Knowledge on that as well. If you're interested in doing that,
I'd be
take care of it that way.
Plenty of Zoom meetings on the subject already.
So Doug and Chris, a recommendation for the 2 commissioners to be on it.
Gonna include that in our motion or
Would.
Make that motion.
make a motion to
Appoint Doug and Chris to the cannabis committee.
cannabis committee? Is that what it's gonna be called?
No second.
Any other discussion? Have you talked to the county attorney and the sheriff? Sheriff office doesn't necessarily mean to the sheriff, right?
No,
It
it's
means
just a representative,
representative
so
of the sheriff.
representative of the sheriff's department, so. The attorney just said, yay, one more thing.
I know other counties have, like met with their various town officials to, get input from them, because that'll maybe speed up the process a little.
Yeah.
You know what they're gonna do,
See if anybody's gonna apply for one even,
or, I mean, if they even want to deal with it themselves versus having the county do it.
Right.
Cause I know in quite a few of the smaller counties, they're just having the county take care of it, cause they don't have city staff to, they wanna get up to speed enough to deal with it, basically.
Somebody from Hills did request a license already. And the problem is they're not gonna be able to get insurance.
Really?
The DRAM insurance people for the liquor don't want anything to do with the cannabis.
Right.
But that's their problem, I guess.
Right, and I'm sure there's gonna be some banking issues as well.
Yeah, that's all part of it.
And the other issues we need to take up as well, the cities will have to deal with their own zoning ordinances that they have as far as placement of these.
Where it's allowed.
Where it's allowed within their cities. We don't have any purview on city zoning, obviously, you know, so we've got to deal with that, so.
Hey, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried. What is the vacation payout policy amendment? Is that? That carry again?
Yep.
Uh, So in the union contract that was ratified this year, there was a change offering for the union members to request one-time payout of vacation if they met certain criteria. And so I put together a process that we thought would be a delineation of how that will work with the payroll office and the HR office and each person and the union didn't like it. Yes, so immediately got a call from
Yeah.
what was the guy's name again? I'm horrible with names sometimes.
Oh, Adam
Adam.
Burnside.
Yeah, and he basically had the argument that that what we had offered was not within the spirit of the language of the contract. And so we kind of talked back and forth about what would be in the spirit of the contract, and we came to a quarterly payout versus a one-time payout, which we think is a fair and doable thing for payroll. So that is what you're looking at in front of you. The memorandum of agreement was created by Susan Hanson.
Yes.
And members have signed it. Now we're asking for your approval.
Okay. Does it encompass all three unions we deal with or just one?
This will be for all, for three. We're missing one, the dispatch, jailers, local did not negotiate for this in their contract. So highway, courthouse, deputies I'll have it in theirs. But we'll deal with that at next contract time with the others.
But
So it was,
does carry through the three that were
Yes.
actively involved?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, we got the letter back from Susan Hanson's office yesterday with the language for the other two. So get those sent out and get those signed, get those back for signatures.
Okay.
It stayed in the contract. It didn't have a date. So we basically chose an arbitrary date of the end of the year. And that didn't go quite as well. So had some talking back and forth and decided that we could make it work quarterly. We do a lot of quarterly payments anyway. And ultimately, this does not affect every employee because you have to have over 120 hours of vacation before you can utilize this payout anyway. So it's not a wholesale, 60 people asking for money at the same time. It doesn't work that way. So it's just, if we do it that way, like I said, we do a lot of payments on a quarterly basis and we have a form that's all set up. Carrie made that up. So get that out to them. That'll be on the G drive so they can take care of that. And the first payout we'll have going forward will be end of September.
Any other information we need?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
The memorandum of agreement between us and the labor unions. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you. Mr. Sandy. Dr. Sandy, Sir Sandy. Your Honor, oh no, not Your Honor.
Okay, I want to update you on where we're at with assistant county attorneys, hires, stuff of that nature. We do have a new person starting. Her name is Erin Jameson. She just graduated from law school at William Mitchell Hamlin in St. Paul. She's sitting for the bar as we speak. She's not licensed yet. We anticipate that she will pass the bar, be licensed. Her start date is early August. And she is licensed under the student practice rules of the Supreme Court, meaning as long as she works underneath a licensed attorney, she can do a lot of things a regular attorney could. Logistically, how that works for her appointment as an assistant county attorney, if she's not an attorney, I was looking at that law yesterday, I'm thinking, can I have her sign an oath of office if she hasn't been licensed yet? Probably not. But we're still gonna bring her on. With the anticipation that she will be licensed and she will be sworn in October of this year. So then she'll be a full-fledged county attorney. We can have her sign the oath of office, bring that down for all of you. So that's a good thing. Bad thing is yesterday Destiny Gruters tendered her resignation. So it all kind of balances out. So we're gonna be putting an ad out again. Looking for someone. Destiny's resignation says she wants to be a full-time assistant county attorney. She wants to not do private practice, which is, we're a part-time office.
Mhm.
And I understand that, and I don't know if we have room in our inner workings of the county and the time and the budget to transition her to a full-time assistant county attorney. I don't know if it's there. I was thinking about it last night when I be watching Colbert and concentrating on the humor for the day, but I was thinking about it. I'm gonna think about it some more. But just so you know, I built 55,000 into this year's budget to hire an assistant. I had Destiny do some research because the public defender's office in the legislature has thrown a loop in county attorneys' offices all across the state by upping the salaries for every public defender statewide. Basically they want to get people in that want to be public defenders. So Destiny put this together for me. And we reasonably figure that Destiny's work, she's about a 3/4 time county attorney right now. So I'll just pass this out. It's just a little sheet. There's a column in here that shows on the far left toward the middle where the public defenders are starting for pay as a full-time and where a 3/4 time would equal out. Thank you. I haven't met you yet, but. Meet you too, just in case you want to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So she kind of put this together.
You have any extras for the media? You
That,
have any extras for those guys to look at?
yeah,
Don't want to take your last one though. Do you need a copy?
I said, that column on the left is where they're at for, zero, unexperienced, fresh out of school attorney that's starting in the 80s. At 88, almost 90,000 a year. And as they progress in pay scale every 2 years, they go up. And once they hit the 18 years, the public defender's office has them making $158,000 a year. So I mean, we're seeing, I've mentioned this before, but I know of a couple places around here where county attorneys have actually jumped ship to the public defender's office for a pay raise. Nick Anderson over in Cottonwood County resigned and went to the public defender's office because with his years of experience, he went to that highest pay scale, which was about a $30,000 a year increase over what Cottonwood County was paying him. My recollection is Steve Lindy over in Watonwan County did the same. So, what it's doing is making it difficult for county attorneys' offices to retain people or get people in too, because we got to match that scale. So there's the second column on here. There's a column like part-time 75%, and then Destiny has salary equivalent. Where she's getting paid this year as a part-time with her years of experience, we're under where the public defender's office would pay. And we're going to be that way. And I don't expect, the county to cover everything because we are also a private practice firm. We pay accordingly. Under this pay scale, Destiny made more with her years of experience last year with the private practice and the county pay. So I mean, that came into play. So she is above the public defender's office with 4 years of experience. But we're gonna have issues in the future. So I'm asking the court for the new attorney coming in, for Aaron, that we go from 55,000 a year up to 60,000. I'm asking you guys to do that. Approve her for $60,000 a year starting. You know, obviously she starts in August, we're gonna have 5 months of salary instead of the full 55,000 I budgeted for the year. But then for next year, I want to budget 62 for a new one. If that would be okay. You know, I'm just being practical here. We had a hard time getting someone in and we were thankful because Aaron, we had a couple people apply that had some issues in their life that really would have been detrimental to a county attorney's office, but they still applied. Erin comes, like I said, fresh out of law school. She's a native of California. She grew up in a small town in the mountains. She said it's approximately halfway between Sacramento and Reno. So more Eastern California. Once she got out of college in California, she went overseas and she taught English in Thailand for 3 years. Then she decided to go to law school and ended up in St. Paul, and she wants the small town life. So that's where she grew up, in a town about the same size as Pipestone, a little bit more mountainous. Just as rural. So, but, so that's basically what I want to update you on. I wasn't planning on updating you on this. So I didn't see that one coming, but you know, I'm thankful she worked with us for as long as she has. I'm thankful for all of her service. I'm thankful for how good of an attorney she's been and how much common sense she brought to the table, working with the deputies and law enforcement in general across the area. And her trial skills have really developed. Whether or not she has a change of mind sometime, wants to stay here, or wherever she goes, she's going to be an asset. So
How long is she staying?
her end date is August 30th. So we'll be able to transition Aaron in. But you know, August 30th is going to be here before we know it.
What was the new hire's first name again?
Aaron.
Aaron, E-R-I-N?
Erin Jameson. Want me to spell it or just refer to the Irish whiskey?
Jamison?
Yes.
Sometimes you might have an E-S-O-N in there.
Yes. So, you know, I'd ask the board approve 60,000 for a starting salary, annual salary.
That's our request today.
Yeah, I want you to do that because I built 55,000 in. Otherwise I'd start her at 55, but I want to up it.
I will make that a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you.
It's not new. The board has heard about these issues with the attorneys for the past almost year and a half, 2 years going on, that a lot of them are jumping ship. I'm hearing from my county administrator cohorts in the Southwest. Jackson County is having issues with it too. You know, yeah, it's an issue everywhere.
Well, every time Nobles County starts to look like they're fully staffed, someone leaves. I don't even know where they're at now. They're supposed to have 4 people in that office. I do not believe they have 4 yet. Cottonwood County is still looking for someone. They're contracting, as I understood, with Travis Smith, possibly out of Murray. So, and their assistant county attorney that had been there jumped to go like Dakota County to a full-time office.
Oh, sure.
I think the bigger counties are paying even more.
That's the thing. Everybody's got to vie for the same amount of law school candidates coming out, people who want to do the job. And the only way to get them in is money. I mean, you could sell the lifestyle. You know, you know, hope you don't hit the stoplight on Main Street. Well, that one's gone, I guess. Hit the stoplight on 75 and 30. So, you know, we're a one stoplight town.
We're one stoplight county.
Yes.
Murray
Oh.
County doesn't have a stoplight. We're one ahead of Murray.
Yeah. But, you know, you can sell the lifestyle all you want, and in the end, there's a lot of that lifestyle around the state, from Thief River to, you know, southwest, southeast Minnesota and some of the smaller counties there. You get that small hometown feeling, and if you don't got the money there, you're just not gonna draw someone. So I'll get off my soapbox on that. But yeah, thank you for the, approving 60,000. Anything you need from me? Any questions you got of me on any of
Anybody
this?
else have anything for debate?
Top of my head, no.
I guess you're not involved, Gary. They do their own stuff.
So. I don't even know what the cost is anymore. I remember when I came out with that. But that was a few years back. Well, just for your knowledge, there is a benefit too. If you work for a public entity, and you have student loan debt, you can get that reduced. You just gotta keep on working for the public entity.
Will they pay for all of it?
No,
I'm not certain. It's a reduction.
it's a reduction every year you work for a public.
Just know if I was carrying student loan debt yet, there'd be a serious problem, but they didn't have those programs in place and my debt was paid off long ago. Excuse me.
Well, don't forget to bring Erin in to introduce her to us.
We will do that in the first meeting you have when she is down here starting to work. We will have her down here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, I'll let you back to your business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give you a call as far as getting salary information for next year.
How's that?
I'll give you a call regarding salary information for next year, what you're thinking.
Yeah, I do that because I left Mary up in the air on the salary. I gave her the basic, you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
The office equipment stuff, but I left the salary off and said I would do that after today's meeting. So if you give me a call later on today, if you got time.
Will do.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank us, me
Thanks.
for her work as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You say August 30 she's leaving?
Yeah.
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 And she's been here 4 years. I remember right.
Mhm.
What's your pleasure?
Wait, Bill?
Hmm?
The Bill's ready?
Yeah. Let's get Bill to come on.
Push the alarm button, see if we get Keith down here.
I'll bet that would make him come.
Probably would. I was worried about bumping him. I sat there.
Bill's on his way.
Probably cause an IT problem.
Morning, Bill.
Morning.
All right. What I'm bringing today is, to utilize the tower and radio traffic over the fiber. We need to do some conversions to get that, into a format that the radio equipment can use. So the radio equipment uses a T1 or an E1. That's like old school telephone type stuff. Anyway, the piece of equipment that we've been using since we put the tower up, what was that, about 2013? It's end of life. They won't extend the maintenance on it anymore. So we have to replace two components, one at the tower and one here. The quote is kind of straightforward. These are really one-off kind of things. You don't see these anywhere. And when we order this, they build it. And then we get one. Other than that,
Which tower is this off of? Which tower? Trosky?
No,
Or
Well,
is it
yeah.
North Hiawatha?
the North Hiawatha Tower, but it's
Okay.
the link that goes to Trosky. It's the
Okay.
primary link. For the armor radio.
So these are kind of like converters in a way.
Yeah, kinda, but kinda big.
Chairman for approval.
There's support for that?
Second.
Any other discussion? They install it, we install it, you install it,
Alpha Wireless installs it.
they can,
Yeah,
this is installed price,
no, there will be more on top.
more on top for installation. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you. Just to give you a little update on what went on early Friday morning. Our CrowdStrike product, there was a defect in one of the updates that it gets, and that caused blue screen to death on all Windows machines that it was on. There was no, just let it recover. So Bridget and I had to touch every machine that affected. Anything that was turned on when that update came was affected and went to a blue screen to death mode. So we were there all night. We got it all done. There's about 30 machines affected. Everybody's pretty good about turning off their computers each day. So that helped a lot with not having to hit every single machine, but law enforcement's 24/7. So their stuff was up when it happened. Not knowing exactly what happened, we disconnected the whole county from the world and just started trying to figure out what was wrong. Got together with several other counties to figure out what was going on. It was obvious it was CrowdStrike's a problem from them because machines that didn't have CrowdStrike on it that were either using our Sophos products and other counties that don't use CrowdStrike at all, they weren't having any problems. But state of Minnesota had 16,000 machines to touch. I have no idea where they're at on that right now, but I'm sure it was a really long weekend if you were a state IT employee. But we were pretty fortunate to just lose a night of sleep over it.
How long does it take per unit?
10 minutes,
Still times 16,000 would be quite a ton.
quite a lot of time. Yep.
My son and his wife were in Boston, figuring to fly home that day. They did make it home, but it was a finagle, I guess.
Yeah. Delta's still working
They're
on
still
getting
behind,
people where they
yeah.
have to go.
And there's one of those things that we have nothing to be able to prevent that.
Beyond my pay grade or capability to be able to figure that out. It's kind of a unique position with antivirus and cyber type security type stuff. With Microsoft updates, we get an option. Do we take that update or do we put it on a few machines and see if it's going to work? But the cyber stuff, it moves so fast that there's really no time to test everything. They say they do on everything. So, but it happens where something bad comes through. Our other product, Sophos, that's happened to us similar, where it was just a bad update. Wasn't nearly as bad as this, but where they've had a problem with an update. So it's going to happen to all of them.
So when my county computer gives me an update message, I can do it.
Yeah, go ahead and do them.
Okay.
Do those updates.
First couple of times it happened, I brought it in and Bridget did it for me. So
Yeah.
want to make sure.
And some of them still may take some assistance to get them to go, but for the most part, we want to do all the patches.
Thank you very much for putting in all that extra time. A lot of people don't ever see that with your department, the
Oh.
late nights that you guys do, long days, and
Right, it was,
appreciation to Bridget as well, please.
yeah, I will. Thanks, Chris.
And you have a new person starting?
On the 5th, we made an offer to Ryan Lubke and he accepted, so.
Good. Got a place for him?
Yep, we got it figured out with maintenance.
Okay.
Awesome.
Any other questions or no?
Thanks.
Thanks.
Recess till the sheriff shows up. We're back in session. Sheriff's Department has a representative here. I won't call you Keith.
Whatever you want. Mr. Chair, members of the board, presenting today a request for action on an out-of-state travel for training for one of our employees to go down to Williamsburg, Iowa, to a training facility there and work on a 3-day course for a training officer for dispatching. So process of implementing a new training program for new dispatchers when they're hired, and we used the process this last time. That worked well in the most recent hire we had, but we like to refine some details to it and get some better ideas from the outside. Can't find anything that's really close to us that holds to that NINA standard. So this is quite a ways away, but it is about our only option here in the next upcoming short time. So that's about where we're at on that.
Chair, move for approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It carries.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Thank you.
And we have another mic. Are you ready?
Hey, here's Mike.
We're ready for you, Mike.
Wait for Amanda, but make sure she gets down here.
Are you coming?
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, can you stop down? Okay, thanks. Bye. Give us just a moment, please.
Well, Amanda, you wanna come over? Hey, the floor is yours, Mike.
Good. So thank you for allowing me to come in and visit. What you see there's a little template we use at work, so I thought it might make it a little easier as far as my visits. In general, basically, we're just looking for, if there's opportunity for consideration on the penalty that we received at Phi Industries on behalf of the late payment of property taxes. So you kind of read through there. We did not make the first half payment. We don't show that we ever received the statement either, which added to it. Now we're certainly put on our calendars so that we remember, even if we don't have it. But we did receive the non-payment notice, and we subsequently made payment of the principal for the property taxes. And but within there, the penalty was almost $4,900, and that seemed kind of stout from my view. And so that's requested, hey, could there be some consideration? Not saying that we don't own property taxes, not saying that there shouldn't be a penalty. It just seemed that the $4,900 was a pretty stout amount for it. And considering, in my estimation, certainly the county can correct me, what resources did it consume because of our late payment? So some staff time, postage, possibly the newspaper advertisement, et cetera. And by rights, that penalty is going to be the same, whether that property tax due is $50, $5,000, 500,000, whatever that dollar value would be. And then I also interpreted through the statute of the state of Minnesota that the county does have some leeway on this. So I thought it'd be, since it is a big enough amount, take a little time, visit with you guys, see if there's an opportunity for a reduction of that penalty. And also, when I say maybe a credit for good behavior, because I think in general, we're a low maintenance citizen of the county of Pipestone. So also, I'm one that I like options and solutions. And so that's kind of where you'll see in the lower half kind of, well, hey, what are some of the options that might be out there? Certainly the penalty remains as is, or hey, could it be reduced to some other lower dollar value? Then you'll see some ideas I had, which would take more time, certainly beyond this meeting as far as how else to possibly approach penalties. Also, an idea came up as far as what if the statements are actually emailed as well as USPS mailed. So ultimately, as you see on the bottom, my recommendation would be, is it possible to reduce the penalty? I put $500. Certainly any consideration at all would be appreciated. And again, that's kind of, well, what's the why? Because the original penalty amount, from my view, is pretty stout. Also probably guessing limited efforts and resources expended upon by the county. And also, we've had historically been right on time with payments. Also, recommendation there would be, hey, could it be possible to email and USPS mail the statements, increase the chances of people paying on timely, thus overall reduce the ultimate resources deployed by the county over time. And also the bigger ask later on, which is much beyond this visit, would be, is there alternative ways to calculate that penalty? So in general, that's why I was here, just seeking if there's some relief to that $4,900 penalty.
Okay, the penalty is a percentage of the tax due. Is that correct, Amanda?
Correct. Yep, on the back of the statements, there is a schedule that shows what the penalty amount is per month as it's late.
Okay.
And that's per statute, subject to everybody the same way.
Did it not get on your schedule? We pay taxes every year. Farmers do all the time. But we gotta know that May 15 is tax time. And it's not necessarily when we get a piece of paper in the mail, but we can't argue with you and you can't argue with us whether you got it or not. We sent it. So that's the limit of our liability. How many do we send out a month or a year? How many accounts do we have?
About just under 8,000.
8,000. You know,
parcels.
if yours is the one that didn't make it, it's still your responsibility to pay your taxes on
Yep.
time.
Yep, and I agree that we're not discounting that. We're certainly be a good citizen and pay the taxes. I would say when I look at any other vendor that we deal with, we pay off a statement that we receive. So any other vendor for buying vinyl or buying anything else, it's not saying, well, we know we shipped your product, so you should pay your invoice. And so while I'm agreeing we need to pay, it is a little bit different aspect compared to any other bill that we receive. And I'd say in your case, such as being farmer too, I would say similar. If you're buying seed or feed or spray or whatever, you're getting an invoice of some sort from the vendor. So this would be the one abnormality that seems to be out there.
Do you know of anybody else that did not get a property tax statement?
I didn't go through the work of trying to identify that.
I haven't had any complaints. Is anybody else aware of? The options something that might be considered is email. I don't know if we want to go down the email trail, do we?
At this point, I don't think our software provides that as an option, but I can check into it.
Yeah. And not all emails go through either. Then
Kind of the idea there would be is that there's a fall safe right there that people either get it in the mail or you could choose obviously how you want to do it, but the concept would be you would do both and that way it'd increase the chances of the citizen receiving it. But yeah.
we could call everybody too, but that's 8,000 people we gotta call.
Okay.
There's just some things that we've done it this way for this and the government requires us to do it a certain way. And I think the penalty is also mandated by the state, isn't it?
Correct. Yep. We're just following the state.
Just following the
statute
state.
for that. Yep.
We're not picking on you.
No, didn't feel that I was. But again, since my understanding of the statute, you'd correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Sandy, if it does allow the county the flexibility to make an adjustment. So that's why I thought it'd be worthy of having a visit, because like I say, $4,900 seemed pretty stout for being, you got the money anyway, wasn't, and there wasn't a lot of effort to get it collected, so.
But if we vary from our standard routine and from the state mandate, we're gonna be in trouble across the board. People aren't gonna pay their taxes. They're gonna pay them later. They're gonna get more interest and then, okay, instead of paying the penalty, they keep their money instead of paying their taxes. You see our point in this too also, don't you?
I would say that I'd see that change is difficult. We see that in our business as well. But as far as the way that it's calculated, it seems odd to me because again, as I said, that whether that property tax was 500, 5,000, 500,000, whatever, the same effort to collect it goes forth. And so that's where it appears to be 9%. I didn't look at that it was calculated over time, but it appears 9%. That's what I'm saying. It would seem kind of a stout versus if you say, hey, it's going to be a flat fee or it's a flat fee plus an escalator or something like that. It's more representative of what I would anticipate would be from a collection effort.
The penalty is an incentive to pay on time. You know?
Yeah, and we've demonstrated that's what we've done through the years.
So you should have a historical record, okay, and it's May, let's pay this property taxes.
And again, I
You shouldn't have to rely on us sending you a piece of paper.
I'd stand by what I said before. We have no other vendors that we pay without an invoice. So certainly in this case, we've put it on several people's calendars so that we try to mitigate that happening again. As well as we're going to take Miss Sandy provided the opportunity for paying by ACH. That doesn't help the timeliness of it, but it does help with not having to worry about delays of snail mail and so forth inbound. So we're going to take advantage of paying by ACH moving forward.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts?
The only comment I would have is that I think the one difference between this and a vendor is that, the time's the same year after year. It's basically a state mandate. Where you might order a product at any given time and expect an invoice. I mean, this is consistent year to year. It's been the same time probably my whole lifetime.
Yeah.
But I know we do run if we make an adjustment for one, I think Dallas is correct, is that we would have a large number of people then choosing to pay late and expecting to come in and have we would spend more time dealing with these different requests than we would doing other business. Because people naturally want to hang on to their money and I don't blame them. Human nature.
Depending how you structure the potential penalty.
Right.
I mean, you could come up.
But we don't structure the penalty. Apparently the state does. So that would probably require a legislative change.
Chris, you have any comments?
Just feel bad about the situation. I mean, Mike's obviously being up and honest about, what happened in the situation. I feel bad, obviously you paid the amount. I mean, it's not like you try to avoid. So that's why I just feel bad about the situation. But I do understand where you're coming from about the precedent and stuff like that. And Mike, if I were you, I'd do the same thing too and try to get the amount lower too, Very faithful employer to this county and very thankful for that too. But I do truly feel for you in this situation because I know truly feel it was an honest mistake,
Any other comment, Mike?
Nope. No, I just appreciate any consideration. That's why I thought it was worth the time to come in and discuss it and see if we can do something on it. So
Perhaps, considering since there's only three of us and we're barely quorum, maybe we could table it just so the other commissioners could have a weigh in on it too when they're back. I don't know.
I think we can handle it today. Tell you the truth. I'd entertain a motion to deny Mike's request to mitigate his penalty.
As much as I don't really want to, but I will make that motion because I don't think we have much choice under.
I will support that motion then. Any other discussion?
It's unfortunate that, where hands are kind of tied with the state statute and everything they hear. The situation is just unfortunate, so.
Yeah, and the penalty is substantial. I agree with that, but it's a percentage, so it's nothing we can do about that right now. All in favor of the motion on the floor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Sarah's coming yet this morning?
Yes. Yes,
She's usually early.
What's that?
She's usually early.
Yeah, she did have doctor's appointment with her kids this morning, so
Oh,
she
okay.
wanted to get on late, and I said, I'd get you on at 10:30, so hopefully she gets here early. Recommend we recess, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, we stand in recess until Sarah shows up. Upcoming meetings are Call our meeting back to order. With us now is Sarah Ackman, Western Mental Health. You want me to talk a little bit so you can settle in?
Sure, that'd be great.
They've heard me enough already this morning, so I'll turn it over to you.
No worries. I just wanted to come and visit a little bit today, and talk a little bit. It's been about a year, a little over a year. If you recall, we had our open house this time last year, right around this time, I guess. And so we've been providing services out of the hospital location. And I just wanted to give an update on really where we're at, how many people we're serving, and then just talk a little bit about truthfully sort of our growth and our needs moving forward and some of the additional services that we'd like to bring to your area and what that could potentially look like. And so, as you know, we've started out up on the outreach clinic, and we're still located there. And we had one office that we were utilizing, and we brought in an adult provider and a children's provider, and we were there 4 days a week is where we were at. And then we did add very shortly after, I think it was maybe 6 weeks or so, we added a third children's provider who was there on Fridays. So we had somebody using that space every day of the week. And over the course of time, we've gotten busier and busier. We also I shouldn't say we had a children adult provider, and then we also had a prescriber, excuse me. So we have our nurse practitioner, Valerie Facile, that is there on Wednesdays as well. So doing outpatient therapy and as well as medication evals and med management. And so we've continued to grow and expand from that. We're continuing to offer med appointments, not only in person, but then also offering some telehealth appointments as well, so people can get in a timely manner. And then we've been seeing an increased need for the children's services. And so fortunately, we were able to just recently hire another provider who lives locally close to this area. And so we would like to expand her time here as well to do outpatient therapy as well as do in-home. And then she also serves the very little, so the birth to 5 program. And then we also then have been seeing a huge need for substance abuse. And as you know, our plan was when we came last year at this time, it was we were going to work with the state to get our substance abuse license and to eventually bring individual and then group counseling to this area as well. And so we are at that point. We received our license quite a while ago, and we did hire a local provider again. Who comes to us with 20 some years of experience, and he is ready to go. He's just completing his his last week of training here. And then we have built up enough of a caseload where he can be working here full time. And so that means doing individual counseling and then also holding an intensive outpatient group, which for your preferences are for your knowledge, I guess, if you're not familiar with that what that is it's 9 hours a week for intensive outpatient. And so we typically have been running that anywhere between 4 and 7 or 5 and 8, depending upon the evening and what works best for client schedules and those types of things. We've also in the past have done a 6 to 9 sometimes as well. So we try to kind of cater to the population and the people that are in the group. And so that's what kind of brings me a little bit to this conversation today, is that we have been inquiring and have been looking at some additional office space in the clinic and having some conversations with the hospital there. And at this time, we're kind of running into a standstill, if I can say that. We've met, and Commissioner Wildermuth, who is not here today, but he can speak to this as well, and hopefully he's given a little bit of an update to you, was with us, and we've looked at probably 3 or 4 different areas within the hospital. And then we've also looked at, I think this is public, that they own a home right outside by the ER. And so we've looked at that, and they're currently looking to see if the city will allow that to be doing some rehab to be able to make it ADA compliant. We do have one individual that we see who's in a wheelchair at this time in our office in Pipestone. So that would be one thing that we would need to just accommodate for. And then we've also been talking about group space, and we're being told that there's not a spot within the hospital that can accommodate our groups. And so just wanting to sort of visit a little bit about that and just kind of talk it through and just sort of let you know maybe some things that are going really well, but then also some of the struggles that we're facing at this time. If you recall, one of the reasons that we asked to be embedded in the hospital when we took this contract on was because of the co-location and the success of that model that we've had in other facilities. And it's proven to be true, right? In Pipestone as well. I mean, we went from 4 days to 5 days, and now we've expanded to we need really 3 offices 5 days a week, right? And so, and providing now additional services and continuing to see that increased capacity. And so that model has been proven to be effective, and we'd like to see that continue. But at the same time, we're also running into some space logistics, if I can say that. And so part of my concern is, and part of the reason I'm coming to you today is that we've looked at space outside of the facility here in town. We're looking at a couple more places yet today. And my concern is if I move out of the hospital and have that co-location where they can do that handoff and they can call us with that direct dial and they can walk people up from their primary care, is if you're going to lose that personal connection and the referral base that we have now. And so, there's no way to predict that, right? But I'm just going off of past history here and also history that we've had within other smaller low office locations with that. And so The other piece of that then, of course, is if we look at office space, then is that going to affect our contract, right? Is that looking at 3 offices versus the one office that we have now? And then also looking at some group space that was automatically built in to the hospital. If we have to rent space outside of the hospital, there's some increased costs with that as well. And so I think those are just some things that I'm kind of looking, I guess, for a little bit of guidance, feedback, and just a little bit of maybe input from the commissioners on how you would like us to move forward with that. And really just kind of the desire to see where we're at here with mental health services and also get some feedback from you on how you think things are going as well. So that was a lot, right? So I'm pause.
As you know, we're on the board of the hospital also,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Your goal is to get more room at the hospital or offsite or?
So our goal would really, if you ask my preference, my first choice, my goal would be to get some additional space at the hospital.
The hospital.
I'm being told that the current space that we're in an outreach clinic, if we were allowed to have extra space there, which they don't feel that there is room there, is that it would be temporary space. They're looking at some different options there for expanding and some different additional services, I guess. I'm not sure what people know about that or not. So, and so that is kind of hindering them to be giving us a permanent space there ongoing.
You talked about a group space, is the room for a group to meet?
Yes.
Don't they have enough conference rooms down the basement that you could get one of them, or are they protective of their space?
I was told that those rooms are not built for group space and not for groups that are held after hours.
Okay, so they're protective of that. Okay.
And Dan was there too. He can speak to that as well.
I think that, they're working hard to try to work out something with that house that's near the ER or whatever. I know it's true, they're waiting for the city to, decide on some zoning issues or whatever. Hopefully they'll get that worked out soon, cause I think ideally that's more the
Gonna be-
directions they'd like to
Gonna be
go.
the solution?
Because, where they're currently at, the specialty clinic, I think in time might need to be using that space, as they do more surgery and specialty services, and that's why they're hesitant to provide more where you're at now. In the short term, I guess I have a question for Steve. Would the community room be an option for like a group meeting or not really?
No, not really. Size wise, it's used constantly down here too. You have
Okay,
every Thursday is driver's license by contract. They pay to be here.
right.
You have other groups using it. It's,
But this was like she was mentioning an after hours times.
some evenings might be available, absolutely, but can't say for sure. I mean, we've got groups from the school that use it.
Right.
Elections that come into play, that
Right.
type of thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, wouldn't be there all the time for your
Mhm.
use would be the biggest thing.
Right, I'm just trying to think of something short term, to maybe tide them over until we can get something more definitive lined up for that EMS or.
And even if we move towards the house, that still isn't co-located in the hospital, right?
Right.
And so we
Right.
still have to leave that facility to come to see us. And they still have to be able to find us. And so that in itself is still a satellite office, right? It's not,
Finding you in the hospital is hard enough.
yes. Right. So I just want to make that point.
I mean, finding it right next door would certainly be easier than finding it in a different part of town.
I think it depends upon what part of town we're at. I mean, the one space that we're looking at is right on the main highway, so it would be very visible that way.
How long is our contract with you guys? Is that,
So we have it through the end of this year, through 2024. And so then we would look at, renewing that again for 2025 through Southwest Health and Human Services is what our plan would be.
okay? And is that contingent on finding space for you, or is that?
we'd like to continue services, right? We've had really great success here.
We would like you to continue too.
And,
We're gonna
and
make
we've
it happen.
yeah, we've been fortunate that we have been able to find some local providers and I think have had more growth here than we maybe initially had thought. And so our goal really is to continue services. We're actually looking at even adding in 2025 and 2026. We've got approval from the state to add the mobile crisis services component here as well. And so we'll be adding that. And so really we're just continuing to kind of build our continuum, if I can say that, for all aspects of the care during and after hours. And so I think you'll continue to find more success with that. We're just trying to find a home and a space as we continue to grow and try to serve the needs here. We need a suitable space to be able to do that, right? And then we also need the support, whether that's from the hospital, or from the commissioners or whatever that is. And again, I just would be amiss if I didn't express my concern about the reason why we feel this model partially is working so well is because of that co-location. And like I said, whether you move right next door to the ER and you have to go outside the facility to find us, or you go, across town, you're still not co-located and it just doesn't create those smooth handoffs. And you'd be surprised, right? I mean, it's amazing how you think, well, you're right next door. You just walk out the door and you're right there. But I don't know if it's a mindset for people or it gives them that excuse if they're maybe not sure or they're and just have enough anxiety to be like, well, now I got to find it. Where is it at? I got to leave the building and, I've got to navigate this on my own. Right. And sometimes just that little bit of anxiety there or that little bit of extra work is just enough to deter them if there's any little bit of hesitation from getting the services. And other folks it won't affect, right? But it's just really hard to tell. And I think as we head into this next year and look at whatever model that's going to be, I just want to be transparent about my concerns around that. And I don't want to be coming to you next year and say, oh, well, okay, here's where we're at. And this is why. I'm a big believer in communication and transparency. And that's how we started this relationship. And I think that's how we need to continue it. And I just want to make sure I'm sharing those things again upfront with you. And maybe it'll be fine. I mean, I really, your population might support us and I might be surprised and that would be fantastic, right? I would love that and that would be great. And I think that's ultimately the goal and the model that we're looking for, but I just don't know what's going to happen.
I remember when this relationship started, I've been on the board long enough now to able to say that. But at the time, we were wondering if we're going to have anybody to come. Anybody
Yes,
show up,
right.
and it's good to hear that we got a problem now. You got enough people hired and you could find people to do it. You just got to find a place for them to practice.
Correct.
So that's something we could bring to the hospital board too. You aren't presenting there this afternoon, are you? Not that you know of.
I'm not planning on being there. I mean, I'm going to be in town this afternoon, but
We got a hospital board meeting this
Oh.
afternoon, so.
oh, sure.
Anybody else have any questions for
You could
Sarah?
probably be added on the agenda if you want to present this.
If you show up, I'm the chairman there too, so I can get you in.
Well, you let me know. I mean, these are things that we visited with Brad about. So, I mean, I don't know if it's, I'm happy to attend if you'd like me to. But I know his response has been, we're looking at space and we'll see what that looks like. But then I also want to let you know then as part of my due diligence here today, because I know it's budget time, right? Is just to talk about what that figure looks like. So if you recall the first year we had some built-in expenses and those types of things for starting a new office. And so this year, our last year we were about $460,000 approximately. Don't quote me on that because that's not the exact number. It was a little bit less than that. But this year we're looking at if we stay again with the hospital and the current rental situation, moving to the 3 offices and an intense IOP, just with the rent that we pay there, we're looking at the contract being $259,458 for 2025. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well.
You got the number, Steve?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And that's, like I said, half of what we were at last time. And just to kind of give you, we're seeing a variety of patients here. And so we send monthly reports to the county and that's just our Medicaid patients, but you also have a high commercial payer group here as well. And so roughly every week, we're seeing about 200 people in this location. Which is a lot of people.
Mhm.
Well, personally speaking, I know this has been working really well for both sides so far. I like Dell said, I like to see us have that problem that we need to grow and stuff. And I'm a big believer, as well as your model of wanting to stay there at the hospital, because just that mindset of leaving a building can just change somebody, then we're losing people and people aren't getting served then. So I think, well, we'll just keep on, we hear you loud and clear. We'd like you to get to those goals too, and
Yeah.
we just have work as a hospital board to try to get this.
And I think if we're looking at a expansion project and I don't know all the details of all of that, right? And that's not, I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying that in other hospitals, what we've done is they've actually, as they've expanded, they've put us in their expansion plans, right? And we've created a space there. When we built the new hospital, for example, in Redwood, we built our space there as part of their new hospital plan because we wanted to be co-located and we wanted to be successful. So I think as we look at this hospital and they look at reconstruction and expansion and reconfiguration, that would just be something that I'd like to advocate for, is that long-term, if we're looking to continue this relationship, for 10, 15 years, it would be great to be able to have a spot that we create as part of that long-range goal and vision and plan as they look for expansion. And I know everybody's strapped for space, right? I totally understand that, and there's dollars associated with that, but we also pay rent. And so there's some revenue associated with that piece as well.
If you had your wishes, how much size would you need in Pipestone? Considering past use and future.
That's a great question. And realistically, I'm a big believer in always building for growth and expansion, right? So if we're utilizing 3 offices right now, we probably look at maybe 5 or 6, depending upon if we had a front reception area that would direct kind of where we're at. If we had a front reception area, I'd maybe do 5, I think.
And a community and a room to.
And a group room, yep. And we're happy to share a group space. Honestly, we're doing group at different hours, right? Like right now, we were thinking of group from 5 to 8 or a 4 to 7 group. And so we do it at kind of off hours purposely. So we're not utilizing and bogging down those conference rooms during prime usage time. And our staff are responsible for making sure everybody is escorted out of the building and that they leave. And then they close everything down and shut everything down. We've done that in other spaces and we would do that same thing here in Pipestone.
Well, there is a space crunch in hospital. They
Yes,
have
I understand.
boxing in our boardroom, so. Which is not,
Recognize the problem, right?
which is
And
not a
I'm not-
boardroom.
And I'm not downplaying their issue with their concern, and I definitely want them to be able to expand, and that's important for them to succeed, for us to succeed, right? So we must work together and collaboratively, I feel, on these things.
Well, we really appreciate the 200 people a week that you help. That's part of our job as commissioners to help the people of the county, and getting a place to make that happen and getting people to make it happen is a great thing that we got hooked up with you guys. And like I said, it changed a lot in the last 2 years.
It has changed a lot in the last couple of years. Yeah, it's been exciting to see the growth, truthfully. I mean, I'm surprised at how much it has expanded. And truth be told, this is the only other location doing an intensive IOP group besides our main location, right? So I think that speaks truthfully volumes to the need here at this point in time, that we can sustain that ongoing.
Anybody else? Thank you, Sarah, for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being today. I greatly appreciate it, and appreciate your patience in giving me this time frame,
Absolutely.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm glad to work with you. I'm glad you're here.
And if you have questions, reach out. Happy to visit, and we'll just continue visiting with the hospital about space, and we'll visit with Southwest about our contract, but I wanted to make sure that I brought these things to your attention.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business come before the board this morning?
Nothing else, Mr. Chairman?
And need a motion to adjourn? Supported by Chris. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned till next 2 weeks from Tuesday. maybe 3 weeks, August 13.
We got 5 weeks this month. 5 Tuesdays.
5 Tuesdays this month.
Yep.